We're good.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Random. It's your host, Smallwood Worldwide. We're back again with another video, and you know what time it is. We got the Goodman brothers in the building, which means it's time for TakeOff Sports Talk. Show some love to Aj, T, and Greg, and I'm your host, Smallwood Worldwide. Today, we're bringing you our double up episode. We're going to kick things off because the Super Bowl was not that long ago. We're still in February. You know what time it is. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs. And I mean, they really beat the hell out of them. But guess what? Jalen Hurts, MVP, another big game. Somehow, he still doesn't get the love he's deserved. I just want to hear from the crew here. Why do we think Jalen Hurts is not listed as among the elite top 5, and in some cases, which I think is ridiculous, top 10 quarterbacks in the league? Greg, I'm going to start with you. What's your thoughts?
I think it's because he's not very exciting at quarterback. That's really it. He doesn't have a lot of big throws except for in the Super Bowl. I mean, he really doesn't do a lot of big throws. He's a really good team manager. And I don't think that's why he gets the props that he deserves. He's like Dak Prescott, but a winner.
What happened there? What happened there? Why are you taking out Dak, man? Why are you taking out Dak?
It's the truth. He's a great,
Believe it.
Nobody ever expects Jalen Hurts. Nobody really is like, hey man, put the team on his back and let him carry us. He's not one of those kind of quarterbacks, or at least he hasn't had to be one of those kind of quarterbacks. I'll say that. Right. He may actually have that in him, but he's never really been. It's never been a requirement, especially when you got the asset like Saquon Barkley in your backfield now. It takes a whole lot of pressure off. So you don't gotta, be out here like Willie Beeman. You can just play your role right and do what needs to be done. So that I think personally, that's why he hasn't reached the heights that he should have, as far as that goes. But even though they don't rank him high, I mean, as far as popularity goes, he's one of the more popular ones.
Yeah, his team loves him, and I think that's where it matters most. I think sports media and a lot of fans in general have the guys, like you said. You made a really good point I've never heard anybody make about the excitement factor, because I never thought of it from that. I just looked at wins and losses and I said, I don't know. You look at Lamar, you look at Josh, you look at Burrow, you look at everybody not named Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is pretty much outperformed head-to-head all of them. He gets it done. I've had the pleasure of watching Jalen Hurts since high school all the way to the pros, and he's just an even-keeled guy. And in the Super Bowl, he didn't have Saquon Barkley in the last Super Bowl they played in. Nope. And he delivered like an all-time great performance. Saquon, this time, I mean, that was just listen, that was Madden-esque having Saquon back there. But the thing is, when people talk about him like he's not great, I always take exception to that, because I'm like, did the wide receivers throw the ball to themselves? What about the tight end? Dallas got it, didn't throw it and catch it. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a Snickers commercial. When I look at that big time throw he did when they went up like 34-9, man, Hurts, he stepped up in the pocket. He made the read. I mean, he does everything you want a quarterback to do.
Yep.
And somehow it's like, where's the love? He's not getting it. And I'm always disappointed by that. I always think in the back of my mind it's the black quarterback thing too, because I feel like if Josh Allen did all the things that Jalen Hurts is currently doing, you would not hear about it. Well, you would hear about it in your sleep. In other words, you would not hear about it.
Let me add something else too. That is part of it, the black quarterback thing too, because there's been other guys in that position who they've putting up on a pedestal, at least in the media, much higher. Like what's the name? The kid at the 49ers.
Brock Purdy. Yeah,
Brock Purdy's one of them, and the dude who actually took his job from him. What's his name?
Garoppolo.
Who?
Jimmy G.
Yeah, Jimmy G. Yeah, Garoppolo. Yeah. Like they had those guys that are like, he's a winning quarterback and blah 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 blah, and all this other hoopla, but they were just basically just game managers.
That's what I feel about Matthew Stafford.
They got a lot more respect on the back end, so the black thing might have a little something to do with it as well.
Yep.
But like I said,
Oh, yeah. So back to the disrespect. There's two reasons why I think that he does not get the respect of that. Number one is because it's a passer's league and he's not known as a passing quarterback. He's known as a managing quarterback who passes sometimes. He's known as a running quarterback who passes. The most effective play he has is the tush push, which isn't to be, negative. But, I mean, if you're a quarterback in today's league, these dudes are throwing all-time numbers because they're allowing people to throw. This is the most pass-happy the NFL has ever been, and he doesn't have pass-happy stats. So, therefore, he's not going to be seen as one of the top quarterbacks. But the second reason is a reason that is no fault of his own also, because I believe that, you should just do what you're most effective at, and that's what he's most effective at, and he wins. So, and I don't think he cares personally about where he's ranked. Well, let me not say that. He probably cares about where he's ranked at, but as long as he's winning, probably doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
Winning
helps a whole lot.
Yeah, winning can help that ranking a whole lot. I mean, he'll never be mistaken for Danny Dimes. Yeah, Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
So that's all he really cares about, probably. But second and most importantly, when they talk about what the weakness is for the Philadelphia Eagles on their offense, if you go position by position, he's probably the lowest ranked at his position of all the players. That's why people don't give him the respect that he deserves, because they feel like Philadelphia is an all-star team pretty much they just went down and was like, oh, somebody's from Georgia, let's draft them. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just did that for like
that D-line.
Now they got a crazy defense, they got a crazy wide receivers, they got crazy, everything. And Jalen Hurts himself is crazy, but I mean, is Jalen Hurts better at his position than A.J. Brown? And some people would say no. I mean, to me, it's arguable, but that's just me. You know what I mean? But I think that the biggest problem is that his team is so stacked that when they say who's the weak link on the offense, they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just make Jalen Hurts throw it. Now, the thing that they don't ever realize is when they make him throw it, the times that I've seen him that they make him throw it, does what he needs to do.
Yes, he does.
He does. That's the part where, all of this stuff can just be about really how you're most effective. And I mean, they were most effective running the ball. So he didn't have to do that. Just like he's most effective when they do a tush push within 2 yards. Why throw a bubble screen when you can just sneak it up the middle? You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I don't think I think this is all water off a duck's back as far as he's concerned. But those are the reasons why I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves at the position.
Now, to your point before we throw it to T, that's the thing I've always despised on the 2-yard line or the half-yard line is a freaking bubble screen. So I remember years ago, Mike Vick was playing the Dolphins with somebody, and they had him drop back in a one-step drop and go to throw one of those passes, and the guy took it like 100 yards the other way. You're like, yo, stop doing that. So like when I see the tush pushing, they're like, it's not fair. I'm like, stop it. You can stop it. I wasn't even mad at Kansas City. The dude lined up like all kind of different ways to try it. You have to try.
I've only seen one team stop that play one time. Not every time, just one time.
Just once.
Everybody was like, whoa, they stopped it.
The Commanders?
Yeah, I think it was the Commanders this year. And then they ran that joint again. And then they ran after they lost it. The next time it came out, they was like, well, let's just do this again and see what happens.
50 points. Okay, great. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Push your life. Yo, T, what's your thoughts?
I got 5, but I'm gonna do some of it's gonna be some retreads because you guys all had good reasons. I think those reasons are on in my list as well. I mean, number 1, he's got a stigma that he's limited as a passer because of his collegiate career. What happened with the whole Tua thing? He's got a stigma that unfortunately it's gonna stick with him for a while. I mean, he just performed beautifully in 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
And this thing is still with him. So, I mean, I'm not sure how long it's going to take him to shake it off, but right now he's still got it. So that's one reason. The game plan that the Eagles have, it doesn't really highlight quarterback play, right? I mean, he's not asked to do much like you guys are saying. But when he is asked, he gets it done. So there should be some respect there. And I think they respect him. They just don't rank him high, right?
Yeah.
They respect him. They just don't applaud him.
Good. I like that. I mean, I think his leadership's underrated because he's got a strong team. Yeah, he's got such a strong team around him that all those guys are so good at their positions. Like I said, he's underrated at his. So they also, for some reason, underrate his leadership. But he's got to keep all these guys, all these personalities, kind of in line or whatever. And that kind of dovetails into I think AJ didn't really help him out too much with those antics and the stuff that he said.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows in the locker room, maybe they were goofing around, maybe he's told them he was going to do this. I don't know, but it didn't really help out with that whole thing about him not getting credit. And the main reason why I think that he's not rated higher is because the media has too many darlings. There's just no room for him. There's no room in their mind. You got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got Josh Allen, you got Joe Burrow. I mean, there's not a lot of room. Now you got Jaden Daniels coming and crashing the party.
Yeah, the kid from the Chargers that hasn't won, but they keep putting him in everything, and I'm like,
ooh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought they kind of cooled a little bit on him this year, so I didn't throw him in there. But
yeah,
but there's not enough room for him, even though he went in there and did a great job and not one but two Super Bowls. So
Yep.
I do think that he should be in the conversation now for sure, at least in top five.
T, I wanted to ask you a question real quick. How is Tua looking though? What do you think about Tua?
He looked pretty strong in the pocket to me. I mean, I know that he didn't do extremely well in the. Did they have a playoff game? I don't even think they were.
Not this year. Not this year.
They got played off. They didn't have a playoff game.
Pretty strong in the pocket. I like it.
But see, this is where I hear what you're saying. But back in when we were kids, there was a quarterback class that was just as good as this one playing at the time. That's when they had John Elway, Montana, Marino, Jim Kelly, and they managed to fit all those guys in the darling spot. Even with Warren Moon, they gave him a little bit of shine. So I don't know what it is with Jalen.
Don't talk about Warren Moon nearly enough, but that's not there.
Yeah, they don't. You know what?
He's a goat.
You're right.
Man.
They didn't talk about Warren Moon really enough. Maybe that's what's happening with him too.
Didn't he win like 5 Grey Cups?
Is that what?
Yeah. Before he got drafted to the NFL.
Yeah.
He like won 5 in 7 years, and then he went to the NFL and was doing all kinds of craziness. Not to mention probably the greatest jersey in history.
Oh yeah. Easily.
I digress.
What you gonna do with that pop blue?
You can't beat that. Well, listen, we got love for you here, Jalen. Keep shining. We'll keep watching. We look forward to seeing what they do in the offseason to recruit and get even stronger. And maybe they run it back. We don't know. In the meantime, let's talk about trades, right? Jack of all trades, sometimes overnight trades. The Luka Doncic trade that just kind of shook up the world. And I want to talk about when you think about trades, basketball, football, baseball, any ball, what are some of the worst trades or a trade that you think was highway robbery that have happened in your lifetime? I'm going to start with you, T. What you got? Give me one.
Oh, man, only one of these actually happened in my lifetime. But my top 3, some of them were a little bit before my time, right? So you want all 3 or just one at a time? Like we were.
Let's do one at a time.
One at a time? Okay.
That's good because I have one.
That's funny, man. My first one is Randy Moss to the Patriots for he was traded for a 4th round pick, right, from the Raiders. The guy's name was it was like John Bowie or something.
Yep.
The dude never even started a game. And Randy Moss ends up breaking the single season record for touchdown receptions in a year. Scored like 50 touchdowns or something for the New England Patriots. So the Raiders traded this guy. I mean, granted, he wasn't really doing much while he was there because he didn't want to be there. But the point is, they didn't really for him. They got some guy who never even played, basically, and he's out there catching 50 touchdowns from Tom Brady. So I thought that was a really terrible trade.
Greg, now actually, you say you only got one. Arch, give us what you got.
So this one's personal for me, guys. The first one, and it's not as high as far as importance, but it's high to me. It means it's real to me, damn it. It was the Cat Julius Randle trade. That's just I mean.
Yeah, that one hurts a little.
I mean,
that's personal. That was personal for you.
With the Wolves they finally built the team to compete late into the year, and then they get rid of the second best player on the team. And for a guy who is
who's all right.
Well, no, it's not that he's just all right, but it's also he's well known for his attitude to be poor. He like when he starts struggling, he everyone sees it. Hi, bird. Hi, bird. He walks around doing that. Like somebody. I don't know. I forgot who said it. It was like. Yo, I heard that him and Anthony Edwards got in a fight because Anthony Edwards said he looked like he ball in gyms, in
jeans,
in t-shirt, in Tim's. I was like, what? He does. He looks like that, man. It was just so disappointing. It was so upsetting. Wolves a 9. That's all. That's my first one.
Damn.
Listen, I agree, man. That could make any list because when I saw Julius Randle for a cat, I was like, what? Who's giving that up? I mean, if I'm the Knicks, I'm like, sure, but if you're the Timberwolves, why would you do that? Like, yeah.
I mean, people thought White Dante was going to make the difference in that. I don't even.
Nah, man, Cat's a lot nicer than what they give him credit for. Shout out to Cat, but
great offensive player. His defense is not too good.
Let's not talk about it.
Listen. I'm gonna jump in here and I'm gonna throw it to G. So one that I have here, and it's very personal to me, is Shaquille O'Neal from the Lakers to the Heat. Okay, you had a Kobe problem, and you decide to trade Shaq, who goes right on to win a championship. I don't need to say more with the Miami Heat, right? So there you go. Love that jersey too. That Miami Nice joint is nice.
Yeah.
That shit stung, man. I was like, how can you give up Shaq? Shaq is generational. I don't care if he likes to go eat burgers in the summer. Let him do what he does. When he comes to play, he's there. And it's like you're winning because of him, not in spite of him. Like, let him get quadruple teamed and just surround him with shooter. I don't care. You could have done this 1,000 different ways. But you ship him off. Shaq does a Luka, gets in supreme shape with a young D Wade, and they win a championship. So, yeah. Go ahead, Greg. I don't want to say any more.
The worst trade that I've ever seen in the history of all sports was Herschel Walker for the entire Vikings.
Damn it.
He's the reason why the Cowboys ran off almost three in a row.
Yeah.
All of that because they wanted Herschel, who came into the league with CT.
Wow.
who showed up that way.
Hey, man. Hey, look. He's a sheriff, all right? You can't be talking about the sheriff like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about the sheriff that way. My bad. But yeah, he's that's the worst trade I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, they built an entire dynasty off of that one trade for one guy. And I don't even know how Herschel Walker did in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure he was all right.
Didn't even get 1,000 yards.
He might have had one pump.
He did the research on it because it's probably on his list as it is on mine.
But it is easily the absolute worst trade that I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, I do actually have another one, but we'll see. We'll see if we get to it. But yeah, that Herschel Walker trade. I mean, if you can show me something that's more detrimental to a team, basically the Vikings should have at least 2 Super Bowls right now. 2 Super Bowl appearances at the very least.
Yeah, they're the purple people eaters. They wouldn't have won, but yeah.
Yeah, they may not have won, but they might have went to the big show.
You know what? I'm changing my number one. That was on my number one. I got a new one.
Nice. T, give us your next one.
Hey, I'm gonna give you guys some NBA history here. I mean, not you guys, but Antoine, you talked about an NBA big man. I'm going to talk about the most dominant one prior to Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain.
Hey,
traded from the Warriors to the 76ers. Now, you guys didn't know he was traded for 3 players and $150,000. Now, one of the players that he was traded for, the dude retired right after he got traded because he didn't want to move. So now you're down to two guys. And those 2 guys never even made an all-star team. And Wilt, when he went to the 76ers, as you guys know, he had, some of his most famous games. He won 3 straight MVPs and he won a championship. So I'd say that's a pretty bad fleecing that happened there.
He won his first chip with 76ers, right?
Yeah.
The Dipper.
Wow. Arch, what you got?
Dip. We're gonna keep it with this. I could actually summarize the entirety of this franchise's history with this one, but I'll just keep it to one player. That is Kareem being traded to the Lakers from Milwaukee.
From Milwaukee, yeah.
But honestly, I could just say such and such traded to the Lakers from wherever, because that's what happens every time, and I hate the Lakers for it. I don't care what he says. I don't like those guys at all. Every time I look up, they're getting these sweetheart deals. I was gonna put down Pau Gasol for the Grizzlies because it was for the promise of Marc Gasol. Before Marc Gasol was even in the United States, he was already in high school. But somehow the Lakers got him. Somehow, I don't know how. I don't know how he got him. Wolves are 9. That's it. That's all, man. I mean, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was literally the greatest scorer in history up until about 5-10 years ago. Well, no, but until 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. And they got that guy. You know what? If you look up the top 10 players of all time, about 7 of them wore Laker uniforms. That should tell you everything you need to know about what's going on around here.
Listen.
It's rigged. I can't tell you.
They got to do it. They got to do it.
Done.
Nah.
That's all I got to say, man.
That's hilarious. My next one, right? I'm going to pivot on it. This was a funny one to me. And it's not on a lot of people's lists, but it's on mine because I never liked him anyway, like as a player. Antonio Brown of the Raiders, yo. That was the most funniest, wildest, wackiest trade ever. I was like, wait, you guys didn't do the research on who you were getting as a person? And like, I know people always try to do to separate the person from the art of the sport. No, Antonio Brown, you can't do that. I don't know what happened. I'm not going to know what.
He caught that one headshot. He was loony ever since.
I
forgot who cracked him in his
Vontez Burfict, but I don't know if that was that might have finished the job. But
they knocked the common sense straight out of that kid. He's been messed up ever since then.
I've never seen anybody blow. I think it was $30 million.
That's right.
And all he had to do was like, sure. I was like, man. And it's messed up because then if you're the Raiders, he's a great wide receiver, but you never got to play. And it's just kind of like, yo, do you know how bad you have to be? I think it was Mike Mayock was the GM at the time. They have him want to fight him, yo. Because remember, he was like, when he called him or whatever, we're not going to repeat that here, but hilarious. I was like, yo, is this real? Yeah, it was all the way real.
Crazy.
Antonio Brown of the Raiders. I would have forced the Steelers to like cut him or something first. I would have never made a trade for that. But Greg, give us what you got.
Any trade that the Washington Bullets have ever made in the history of their franchise. The Bullets have given away championship player after championship player after championship player. There was a time where they had Juwan Howard, Chris Webber, and Rasheed Wallace all on the same team.
And Ben Wallace near the end of
it. That's right, and Ben Wallace.
Wait, the Ben Wallace one is real.
Yeah, Ben Wallace was there near the end, and so was Richard Hamilton.
And Richard Hamilton when they went to the Wizards
with the Jordan. Yeah, that was like when Jordan got there.
Any team, any player that has played for the Washington Wizards that has been halfway decent, with the exception of Gilbert Arenas, they have thrown away to the trash.
Sheesh.
All of them, every single one of them.
That's insane.
So every trade that the Washington basketball organization has made in their long, illustrious history of losing has been a bad trade. All of them. I couldn't tell you who they got for these players, what draft picks they picked up for them. All I know is those players left, and wherever they go to, a championship follows. Every last one of them.
That's what's crazy.
They're the worst dealing franchise in the history of sports. I've never seen anyone deal away so much and get back so little.
I'm trying to think that they might be the worst ones.
I think they are. He's right.
I can't think of one that's worse right at this moment.
They picked up Jordan Poole in free agency.
Hey, sign me up.
Goodman did it. Jordan Poole with the greenest light in the land, and no, nothing.
They traded for him, I thought.
Did they trade for him?
That's how Chris Paul ended up on the Warriors.
Yeah, it was like
actually, you're right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was nearly my number one, but I read a touching article about him here in DC. I figured I didn't want to
let him slide.
Horse. Yeah, I didn't want to whip a dead horse.
Or since his last name is Poole, maybe let him slip and slide.
Yo, T, who you got on your last at the list?
I was close to doing the troll thing with the Wizards, but I didn't do it. I ended up with the great Bambino.
Damn it! I just changed my
Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Red Sox.
I changed my pick from Herschel Walker at number to the Bambino, and then this guy comes over with the Bambino.
It was just the story.
The Bambino that was on par with Kareem. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. You guys know the Red Sox owner. He was a theatrical producer, and he needed money for a musical. He needed $100,000. So he decided he's going to trade Babe Ruth for $100,000. And
man,
you all know what happened.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
That's exactly what happened. That singing frog never sang in public.
That singing frog from the WB was up there. Baby, my heart's on fire.
Just like that frog, that musical never saw the light of day, man. And they lost Babe Ruth, who is considered by a lot of people. Well, he's definitely one of the greatest ones to go down in history. I mean, he put the Yankees on the map, and it will never be erased. And the Red Sox had a curse for what like 100 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the worst trade that I had ever seen.
That's the greatest rookie I've ever heard. I'll be honest with you. Dang, I thought that Herschel Walker was cold. I forgot
the curse of Bambino.
But I didn't know he got traded for cash and season tickets to the theater.
Yeah,
he got traded for cash and Hamlet.
It wasn't even that good though. You don't even know what the play's name is.
This guy got traded for cats. I was like,
it's not that good. You didn't even hear it, yo. It's not Rent. It's not Cats. It's not Hamilton. None of those. You understand what I'm saying? Porgy and Bess. It's none of that. You know what I mean? It's none of that.
Bro. That is
all I know is that owner is lucky. The sports fans are not as ravenous as they are now, or he would have died. They would have killed that man.
I can still give you a third, Antoine. It's not my number one for real, but I mean,
go for it.
Digging the bag here. I mean, I'm just rummaging around, see what I can pick out of the bag. Oh, Santa Claus. I got Dominique Wilkins getting traded from Atlanta. This is actually the anniversary of that because he got traded for Danny Manning. Now, this isn't just to throw dirt on Danny Manning's name, but at Kansas, everybody knows Danny Manning's knees was cooked.
Yep.
Traded Dominique Wilkins. The reason why I think the Atlanta Hawks had a franchise pretty much that was by the time this thing happened, they traded him for a guy whose knees was done, man. It was washed up. You know, he was washed up out here. And they got rid of the face of the franchise. And they've hardly been relevant since. Like they had a couple years with Mookie Blaylock and Dikembe.
Yeah.
And then they had that one little slick run they had with Budenholzer. But other than that, man, this guy's a trash, B. It's a trash franchise. They slum. And their colors aren't even as good as the Charlotte Hornets, so I consider them a worst franchise. Back to you, Antoine.
Those colors are bad. Yeah, so my number one was Kareem from the Milwaukee Bucks to the Lakers. But, I mean, there's nothing else to be said about that. So I got to throw in an honorable mention here. And it's a funny honorable mention, again, much like the Antonio Brown, but I mean it, right? This guy chose the Clippers over the Lakers. Then he chose podcasting over his NBA career. Now he did an announcement to say, hey, we're taking a break from the show, guys, because, I have a commitment to try to win a championship. Talking about Paul George, man. Come on. What kind of a joke is that? Like, listen, you ever want to know why some of these guys don't win? It's stuff like this. I don't understand. You can podcast and play, but if you're trying to win a championship, you know what it calls for. Come on. He made an announcement about the podcast. I'm like, what? You're not retired? You got traded for a pack of Newports from the Clippers when you were supposed to be the missing piece with Kawhi to go to Philadelphia 76ers, all right? Then tell me, listen, I'm not going to joke on it. Embiid. I wish him well. Hope that he recovers. But you knew what you were getting into there. And now you're coming off the bench practically.
They wasted Maxey's years, bro.
Yeah, right. Tyrese Maxey is that dude. I'm like,
years,
he
bro.
actually wants to play ball. Let Podcast P go off and do his thing. We're not mad. We'll watch it. We love the stories, but like,
Hey,
no.
look, I'll be real.
No.
Any team that gets Paul George is just asking to lose. Like they're just he's a black cat. He can ball and everything, but he's not
since Indiana.
Oh. No, he's been balling. He just ain't gonna win.
He got the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. He's a good.
Yeah, he just not gonna.
He's a good basketball player.
Yeah.
And
plus, right now at this age,
the who?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be real with you. At this age and his injury history, I would trade him for a snack pack and a bowl.
Listen,
I would trade him for a bowl and a snack pack.
Stop for no reason.
I just never seen a player do that before this active. That was just insane to me. Like, yo, I'm announcing to y'all, we got to take a break from the podcast so I can try to chase a championship and I'm not going to get.
Yeah, the time to do that was like in the beginning of the year before y'all were in like 11th place.
Even JJ Redick knew it. Like, hey, guys, not the one with LeBron, but the old man and the whatever podcast he has is like, yo.
Oh, yeah.
I got to go coach. Podcast is done.
I'll see y'all in the offseason.
Exactly. Yeah. And I respect that. You got to do that. So, whatever. What a trade. But, G, take us home on this topic, yo.
Oh, what, worst trades?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, let me see if I can dig another one out the book. Yeah.
You got Jerome Bettis. I mean, you got a lot of them.
Yeah, Jerome Bettis was a bad one. You know what? I'll go with Marshawn Lynch.
Ooh.
Yeah, when they moved from the Bills to Seattle, what a horrible move by the Bills.
I forget that he was with the Bills too.
Exactly. And he was killing it with the Bills. You catch a nigga with a gun one time and you just want to. Actually, I'm not even sure if that's true. But I think that was a terrible trade. Marshawn Lynch is like, I don't know if he's a top 10 running back of all time, but he's top 10 beloved.
Yes, he is.
He's one of the most beloved dudes ever.
Hey, top 20 running back of all time.
He's probably top 20. I don't think he's top 10.
You might have some top 10 plays.
Yes, he does have that.
He might have the greatest play.
He might have the greatest play.
Yeah.
Beastquake?
Yeah, Beastquake. Yeah, Beastquake.
Yeah, that's easily top 2 for me. That's like, that shit was insane.
Yeah, we could go. I think that one was a really, really bad one. You know what? That one or Steve Young.
Oh, from the Buccaneers?
Yeah. When the Buccaneers let Steve Young go.
Yeah.
Bad juju.
I think they did him a favor, though. I don't think that was.
Yeah, they did him a favor. But they also just left their franchise in the dirt.
You know?
Yeah.
Well.
Listen. Good luck to Luka. I mean, you know why I'm cheering for you, but guess what? Listen.
You know that they're going to get a championship either this year or next year.
I'm just telling you. Look at the team. And
it's going to happen.
Luka's dropped like...
It's going to be next year.
It's going to be a great, great time. And meanwhile, Anthony Davis is going to be like, man, you know what? I don't know, Mavericks. You got to get a big man.
All of it, Kevin. All of it. This is just,
Nah, listen. We wish them all well.
What that is, that Laker magic is something. Like, how does it happen? And it's always like right in the nick of time, too.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
But how long do they go without having a legendary player? I think the longest was when Kobe left. It was like 2 seasons or something like that.
Yeah, like 2 seasons. And then LeBron came. Kobe brought LeBron and Magic. That's crazy. It. And what's crazy, they could have had LeBron and Kawhi.
They're probably better off without Kawhi.
No comment.
I don't know. I think without having the pressure to have to play every day like that, he would have been all right.
I don't think his knees would have held up, and I don't think they would have got that championship.
True. Those knees are bad, man. That Toronto year, man, I don't know where he went to get done on those knees, but that was a magical year. That was insane. No, they took out the Warriors.
Why doesn't Kawhi Leonard just go ahead and call up Kevin Durant's guy and see like who fixed up his Achilles injury? Why did he call someone like that?
It's different. It's his knee. It's not going to be able to.
Well, what I'm saying is he needs a high level doctor. That's all I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. All he can do is slow down the process. His knee is done. It's been done since San Antonio. They botched.
That's what happens when Dr. Phil is doing your operation.
Yeah, I heard that.
Incredible doctor. I don't know who's doing this.
Dr. Phil, yeah, that's not right, man. He'll come on, chill, boy, relax.
The free clinic in Watts is not going to get your knees. You better get
chill,
chill, man. Relax. Calm down, man.
You can't go to a doctor lives off flossing.
But yo, we wish them all well. To our last topic of the day, you know, we know, if you watch the show, we love a good fight. Now, at first, everybody was disappointed because Canelo Alvarez was going to take the fight with Jake Paul. But they had a change of heart. Now he's actually going to fight Bud Crawford, allegedly in September. But before that, he wants to take a tune-up fight. What does that mean? I don't know. But what I want to talk about is the main show. What do you fellas think? Canelo or Bud? Who do you have coming out in the outcome of that fight? Potentially.
What's the weight?
It doesn't matter. It's Canelo. It's Canelo. Riyadh season, first of all, put the fight on. You know what I'm saying? Number two, yeah, I got Canelo in that, and every time. He's just a bigger guy. He's just a bigger guy. He's just as skilled as Bud. He doesn't switch. He can't switch stances like Bud can. He's probably just as fast.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you think he's as fast as Bud?
He's just as fast because Bud's more calculating, I think. But Canelo's seen in every fight. He's been in every fight. Not to mention that Canelo has a cast iron chin. He's not going to go down. Doesn't matter what Bud hits him with. He's not going to catch him off guard. He's not going to catch him. He's not going to catch him to where he's going to hurt him to be able to put him down. He's just not going to. Canelo's fought people who are 20 pounds heavier than he is. Get hit flush and shook it off and kept it moving. Like he's the best boxer of this age right now, which is why he could swing a 4-fight deal that probably gave him $1 billion in Riyadh season. That's just what it is. He's, outside of like if you made all weights even, then it would be a different story. Like pound for pound, it'd be a different story. The Monster would be up there. Javante might be up there, but
Monster definitely.
Yeah.
But we're talking about reality, and in reality, Terrence Crawford has been a fighter at anywhere from I think 135 up to 147, and he's naturally a little bit of a bigger guy, but 154 against somebody who's probably comfortable at 154, and he hasn't maybe once around that weight. And not only and he's not just fighting anybody, he's fighting one of the fighters of his age. You know what I mean? It's one of the fighters of his era. So I got Canelo in the fight. And that's not even a disrespect to Bud. Bud's insane enough to believe he can beat him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if he did. I'm actually a huge fan of both of them, but he's a smaller guy. That's really the long and short of it, unfortunately. He's just a smaller guy.
Well, that's why I asked what the weight was going to be.
Put the fight on. I mean, like that's you know what I'm saying?
The weight is at a place where Bud is more comfortable. If it's in that 147 range, 150, and they do a catch weight or something like that, and it's and it's on the light side, my money's on Bud.
Canelo's not fighting at 147, and plus Canelo is the moneymaker for the fight, so he's gonna probably set the rules for the fight.
And here's my other point too: why I think Bud's gonna win.
It's gonna be at 168.
168. Good God.
Yeah. Maybe Bud walks around heavier than what we know.
He does.
He must.
He
does.
He must walk around heavier.
Right, walks around like 170 something.
But he doesn't fight at 170 something.
No, he doesn't.
This is why I'm going to go with Bud Crawford, though. I've seen Canelo get out of character when he fights people at times. Is he genuinely the best boxer? Yes. When he focuses and boxes the way he's supposed to box, yes. but I've seen him go in there and switch up his style and do little unnecessary tweaks that makes the fight closer than it needs to be at times. And he's only done that when he's fought he did it when he fought what's the bigger guy that he fought? The
Bevo?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did it when he fought him, and he did it when he fought Triple G the first fight. The other fights, he actually fought his fight. If he does that against someone who, like Crawford will beat him. Because Crawford's a better boxer than Triple G. Triple G is he's an amazing slugger. And he's a pretty good boxer. He's not as good technical boxer as Bud. And Bud is a very tactical fighter. So if he messes around like that, he's going to lose on points to Bud. Bud's going to get him. Bud will be able to catch him off guard if he doesn't fight the way he's supposed to fight. So, like I said, I've seen Canelo let a fight slip away. I've never seen Bud do it. And every fight I've seen him let slip away, it's his own doing. He's beating himself. So he's never really lost
the exception of Floyd. With the exception of Floyd Mayweather, yeah.
With the exception of Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
But every fight that he's lost, with the exception of Floyd, he's beat himself. I've never seen Bud do that. And that's why my money's on Crawford. I think Crawford sticks to the script and does exactly what he's supposed to do. Canelo, I don't know.
I'll jump in here before I let T take us home on this topic. I don't know. It's a 50-50 fight for me. Knowing that Bud is going up 2 weight classes, I'm not as bothered by it because I do feel like a lot of guys walk around a little heavier than what they fight at. But to Aj's point, he doesn't fight at that weight. And Canelo fights naturally at 168 and probably could come in anywhere 180, 190 the night of the fight. So I don't know what's going to happen. I've never seen Crawford rock or make a ton of mistakes in a fight. But Canelo's just the level of class he's in terms as a boxer and a fighter and being able to flip those switches and take a punch. I don't know that Crawford can hurt him. I'm going to be honest. I just don't see it. I don't know who wins this fight ultimately. And I really don't care. I just want to see a good fight. But, the name of the game, I can't play it both sides on that. I'm going to say Canelo. And I'm going to say Canelo handily, probably a little more than what I'd want to say because I really like Bud, but it's just Canelo's that damn good, man. And again, they're not fighting 154. They're fighting at 168. I don't know. Not Bud. Like if Bud fought at the size of the Mexican monster, okay, now we're talking a different fight. But Bud at his natural weight in terms of fighting, I see Canelo winning this. What you got for us, T?
Yeah, I love both boxers so much. It's like I want to see the fight and I don't want to see the outcome. Like, I actually have seen Terrence Crawford wobbly a couple once. Well, it was a couple times in one fight years ago when he fought Yuriokas Gamboa.
Yeah,
fantastic fight. I mean, these guys were back and forth. And Bud's heart is bigger than this room. I mean, I really, really appreciate and respect what he does in there. But Canelo is a bigger man, and like all of you have made the point about his chin. He's been in there with some big guys. He's taken some really heavy shots and shrugged them off. Like when he fought Triple G, I was like, man, you're kind of crazy. Triple G caught him flush. I seen Triple G floor guys with those same shots, and he was just like, well, okay, I guess we're fighting now. So I'm just, the fact that he's taking a tune-up fight makes me feel like he's taking this pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Alvarez is really a lot to deal with. And the one thing that I hope Crawford doesn't do, but he's been doing it in so many fights lately, when he switches to southpaw, he's caught a lot. He's not going to be able to take those Canelo shots and getting caught with those blows. So if he starts doing stuff like that, he's going to put himself in danger. And like I just said, he's got a huge heart, so he's probably not going to do the safe thing.
And Canelo's an accurate puncher too.
He is. and he hits really hard from what it sounds like through the TV. I mean, he's just thudding people. And I've seen him hit that teardrop water heavy bag. Oh my
Yep.
God. It just looks like if he were to hit you to the body, you would go down to your knees, but that ain't low enough. You just lay down on the ground, man. But anyway, I think I'll have Canelo in the fight, especially considering it's 168.
Put the fight on.
Yeah, yeah. For shits and giggles, Yo G, do you think that Canelo could be outpointed by Bud, like in a way that he can get frustrated and that will cost him the fight? Or what do you think?
Well, that's the only way Crawford will win. Is to outpoint him. He's not going to knock Canelo out. That's just not going to happen. Canelo's like they said, he's the bigger man. He's got a great chin. He's not going to knock him out. The way he ends up winning this fight is Canelo trying to get cute or trying to do something different. That's the only way he wins. This is on points. Now, Canelo can win a myriad of ways.
Yeah.
I just don't think he will because I think Crawford is going to go in there and handle his business. And I think Canelo, he'll go in there real serious. He'll take it. He's going to come in there conditioned. But like I said, there are times where Canelo likes to go off the script and do something different. And he does it in big fights. He never does it, in like the fight with Triple G. That was like a mega fight at the time. It was a huge fight. There was no reason for him to do that. He should have won all three of those fights easily, hands down. But he didn't. He just didn't stick to the script like he did in the last two fights. The last two fights he fought the way he should have fought the first fight.
I'll also say, real quick, that Terrence Crawford's basically in a non-lose situation. If he beats Canelo, he becomes a fighter of his era, and one of the greatest fighters of all time, honestly.
Yeah.
He wins that fight, going up several weight classes and then beat someone of the class of Canelo. And also, if he loses to him, I think that most people who are in the know of boxing would be like, he took a huge risk for it, and he went for something that was crazy. Like, they're not going to hold it against him. Kind of like how Canelo's loss to Floyd Mayweather was barely mentioned here because of Floyd Mayweather. So it's like, you know what I mean? So
you almost forget about it. It's like it's not been a race, but it's like,
right. It's just like, oh well, yeah. I mean, he fought Floyd Mayweather too, but I mean, other than that, you know what I mean? It's just, and that will be what Terrence Crawford's loss.
Kind of give him a pass on it.
It's just kind of like it's an understandable law. It's a fight where you went in there, you took it because you're insane. That's what it is. Yeah. So that's the kind of fight this is. So yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, we'll be watching. Can't wait to talk about it. But that's much later this year. Until then, stay tuned. We got Greg, Aj, and T. Smallwood Worldwide. We'll see you again sooner than you think on a new edition of The Random. Peace.